Hello everyone, my name is Chris and I am the project lead for Azorus, the blockchain analytics and intelligence platform. The goal of Azorus is to allow our customers to query, explore, visualize, analyze, and share on-chain and off-chain data insights. For this video, I want to focus a use case and application for decentralized finance traders or degens, and specifically on how they can create their own DeFi dashboard and analytics. I wanted to do something different this time. I wanted to focus solely on someone who might be who's like a no-code user, right? So they may not have the knowledge or the appetite or the time to pick something up, but hopefully it can give an illustration on how you can use Azorus to still use it without that knowledge. A few housekeeping items. The first one is this is an alpha product, so there are still some bugs. Not everything is completed. The branding isn't quite there yet. Number two, this is just a very basic example, right? I am not good at all at being in DeFi, right? I just know how to do some swaps and stuff, but not in terms of like actually generating any type of profit. And so hopefully, ideally, I mean, someone in the community can come up with better charts, better dashboards, and maybe this would serve as an inspiration for someone to get excited about using Azorus in the future. Cool. So with that out of the way, let's say I am DeFi, right? I wanted to know about the price of a particular asset, and so price comes in. You can analyze price in a few different ways. You can know about the actual price for for the current day. You can you might be curious about the historical price, how it looks like over time, or the spread, right? The average price for a given time period. So, you know, there's tabulated data right here, which is what we have here from this particular data set. It is from the Spectrum Dex data set provided by a community member. His name is Error. And so we know exactly for a given day, for a given pool ID ticker and ticker, right? We know the price. And so that's for a given day. But how do we figure out the average? You can easily do that on Azorus by writing query to say for the ticker, you know, aggregate it and then give me the average. But we're not going to do that, right? We're a DeFi trader who doesn't know any code, right? And so the great thing is, I think I already saved that. So the great thing is there's a lot of tools already available inside Azorus that you can play around with to give you that view. I just want to know, right? Exactly what does the average price of a given asset on Spectrum Dex, which is the decentralized exchange on the Ergo network. And so we have time series line charts. That's only going to give me trended, right? We have a table that's only going to give me like the actual raw data set. We have pie charts, not very helpful. What we can do is click on view all charts and look up something called box plots. And so box plots are usually a good way to compute and visualize, to understand for a given data, what is the average mean, what is the average mode, and if there are any outliers to it. So let me just select that one. And so it's very simple. You can click the respective buttons, right? So respective values. In this case, what we care about is the average price. So we'll save it. But you can also add dimensions. And so dimensions in this case would be a ticker, for example. So we also have a drag and drop feature, so ticker. And so if I update that chart, actually, let me just go back really quick. Let me just cancel that. So if I did not put in the dimensions, it would give me the average price for everything in this data set. So the average price is going to be almost 30,000 ERG per asset, right? But that's not really helpful. So as someone who may not know how to write any SQL, you can go in here and pop in ticker, and it will compute all of that for you. So here's the box plot, right? You know exactly for comment, the average is going to be 226, but there's also anything outside of the, what is that, 308,000 and um, 174,000, those are considered statistical outliers. So the elephant in the room is you have comment, right? This is it's like skewing up the graph, like you can't see anything else on this graph. So there's two ways to do it. The first one is we can edit the code, right? So inside here it shows the exact code, and it says for this pool ID is this asset, that pool ID is this asset, right? In the future, someone can easily comment the code to say, here's, delete this if you don't want comment anymore, right? But again, we don't want to focus on that. We want to focus on someone who is a no-code user. So we have this fancy little button here called filters. So in filters, you can say ticker and is not equal to, and we'll do erg/comment. And so with just a quick save, that would effectively remove that from our data set. And we can see exactly and visualize like how does the price action for all of these assets look like since June, I think June 1st of 2021. I'd have to double check. But this will give you that spread. And so good to see that erg to SIG USD, obviously it'd be nicer, but it'd be a lot higher. But for the time being, it's down here in the bottom. But we can see SIG RSV, the average, median, and the inner quartiles. Excuse me. But maybe you're not a visual person, right? Maybe you want to take that data, put it somewhere else. You want to copy and paste it into like a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint presentation. We have this little button on the bottom here. It's called results. And so if you click that, now the platform has already computed that on the back end. Oops, let me just move. Oops. Is there any way I can, let me just move this up a bit. There we go. Sorry, I'm like doing this on the fly. Maybe I'll put it at the top instead for this video. So now we can see for erg SIG USD, the average is 2.4. And there were definitely there were a total of 183 observations in this case, with the average outliers of 4.5, 4.25, 4.97, right? Anything above that is considered an outlier. Actually, maybe we can even do this too. So ticker is equal to erg SIG USD, and then I'll save that. So update it so that way I can only see the outliers here. And so now we visualized what the average price of erg to SIG USD ratio is. So anything within the for at least for the last year and a half or so, anything between $1.92 all the way up to $2.79. Those are within the normal range. Anything outside of $4, you could say those are like outliers. And if you are a trader, you can easily go out and swap, buy, sell, whatever it is you traders do. So that is one way for someone who does not have any SQL coding experience to create their own charts and analyze the data. But going into each data set, creating individual charts, clicking into it every single day is a little tedious, right? I think one of the powerful instruments of Azorus is being able to create your own dashboard. So I'll go in here. I will create my own dashboard. In this case, I'll call it DeFi Trader Video Demo. Cool. And earlier, I had created this one. So average price, volatility. And then let me just drag this out a bit. Cool. So with a few clicks of a button, we are able to create our very first dashboard, right? For Spectrum DEX average price. As mentioned earlier, right? We had troubles removing some of these outliers. In this case, Comet completely. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second on how to do that in a more seamless fashion. But first, let's build our dashboard. So what I can do is, let me just add a couple more rows here to build out our canvas. And maybe I want to know something like the composition of the trade volume on a daily basis. Oops. And then the contribution, like who's doing most of the work, and then average price as well. So spread that out. Cool. So this is one dashboard view, right? As a DeFi trader, you know for this entire data set, this entire universe on Spectrum Dex, and we can in the future we can add more, right? It's just a matter of filtering out the data set. Average price volatility. The price trended over time. In this case, if I want to, I can drill down by SIG RSV, or if I want to just see SIG USD or even ErgoPad, for example. I can just with a few clicks of buttons, we can get all of that information. You'll understand for this bottom chart here is the composition of trade volume within the last 24 hours, I think. So Cigars to be taking the number one spot at 72%, followed by ErgoPad at 25%, and so on and so forth. And then also, if it's useful for someone, you can see on a daily basis which tokens on Spectrum Dex is getting most of those where most of those trades are happening. Excuse me. So back in June, looks like it's mostly Exile. In September or so, EPOS, and then there's like a number of sporadic ones in between, and that makes sense, right? The green for back in June and back in September/October, those were the IDO months of EPOS and Exile. So the biggest problem right now, though, is Comet is in our way. It's not doing us any good to see a lot of this data. So there are three ways we could potentially remove it, right? The first one is the individual charts. So in this particular case, I can just click that button and that is no longer visible. But for this block spot, I cannot do that. For these bottom ones, is there a comment in here? I can click that one, but it's already non-existent, right? And then is this one in here? I just click that one and that gets removed. But that's a lot of clicking, right? The second one is going back to the core data set or each of the individual queries for the charts and then editing the chart. But again, I'm a no-code person in this example. I may not know how to do that. I may mess something up. So what we have here is something called a dashboard filter. And so if I just click there, we want to know the filter types, the data set we already know, right? Oops, here you go, select. You can select ticker. And then the specific column is the actual ticker. And there are some preset filters and configs, but we don't need to worry about for this case. So what we've effectively done is apply a global configurator on top of this dashboard. We can select it can filter by the individual panels, or we can apply it globally. But for our use case, we'll just apply it globally. So let's take everything except for comment. So we'll just hit apply there. And now we know exactly what that there should be updated. There we go. Cool. Now we know from this data set, without doing any code, we create our nice little dashboard that we can come into every single day. We can filter things in, filter things out, right? If I only wanted to see a specific asset, in this case, let's click X here. Maybe I only care about Paideia, and I hit apply, right? Now I know exactly average price, what that price looks like over time, and what does the trade volume also look like on a daily basis. Might need to verify some of this data. I don't know if that's correct, but that's besides the point of this video. And so now I can see exactly where if I were a DeFi trader, where to put my energies and focus on, and if there's something that I would need to do. Cool. So hopefully this was useful, right? As someone who, and this is, although this is only for a use case in terms of decentralized finance, hopefully it gives some inspiration on what you can do with an existing data set. Even if you don't understand some of the code, there are filters in place. There's a lot of drag and drop functionality and global configs to help you filter or shape the data in a way that you need to provide you with the charts or dashboards that you would like to see. So again, thank you for watching. My name is Chris, and this is Azorus, the blockchain analytics and intelligence platform. I guess what they usually say in YouTube videos is, if you like this video, hit subscribe or leave a comment, likes below or something. I'm working on it. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.